P9 back again, and this is going to be a very special vlog right here, guys, because we're in this tourist city slash town, whatever you want to call it, of Jefferson, Texas. I may even need to take 2 vlogs to cover this place. This is how much it is to unpack. But this is Jefferson, so let's get into it, shall we? Now, Jefferson is the seat of Marion County. It has a population of about 1,900, but that population surges at certain times because of its status as a tourist spot. So a lot to unpack. There's the Marion County Courthouse, and there is a statue erected by Dick Taylor Camp right outside the courthouse to start things off right here in Jefferson. And here's a marker for Texas statesman Charles Allen Culberson, who's one of Texas' most forceful leaders and served 32 years as the Attorney General, Governor, and U.S. Senator. So he served as a leader here in Texas. He was born in Alabama but moved with his parents to Texas. Educated at Virginia Military Institute, University of Virginia, and also began a law practice here in Jefferson. So the firm of his father, Mr. Dr. D.B. or Congressman D.B. Coleman. So yeah, a lot of history. You know, railroads were claimed here, and also a lot of antitrust laws as far as reforms in the form of antitrust laws and the creation of Railroad Commission. So yeah, Charles Allen Culberson served 2 terms as governor and was a strong law enforcer here in the city of Jefferson. And this is where we'll start things off. So it's a memorial for Trooper James Scott Burns. God rest his soul. It's in honor of Trooper James Scott Burns. And just to give some insight on the Marion County Courthouse, Texas legislature created Marion County 1860. Jefferson was established as early as 1841 and chosen as the county seat by 1860. Jefferson was a regional economic center for steamboat traffic on Big Cypress Bayou, navigable due to a log jam on the Red River. The county government occupied several buildings during its first 50 years, including a courthouse built in 1873 and Murphy Building, and also today is a courthouse annex. And in 1912, the county hired architect Elmer G. Withers to design a courthouse similar to his design for Roberts County Courthouse. So it's a classical revival style courthouse with the Doric columns. So yeah, really cool looking courthouse right there. Cream colored bricks. It's always been my favorite color when it comes to courthouses. And I believe they have Bigfoot sightings here in Jefferson as well. I don't know if that's a myth or not. But a lot of really nice nice shops. This is a pretty good place to set up or open a business because of its status as a tourist destination. This is the Auntie Skinner's Riverboat Club right here in Jefferson, Texas. A nod to Jefferson's status as a or its history as a inland port. Is one of the most important inland ports in the state of Texas. You know, again, when they had those log jams, that Big Cypress Bayou was used to basically, you know, ship products from New Orleans all the way up to Jefferson. So you could tell Jefferson definitely had a very huge vitality during the Civil War. Here's Hoarder's Haven shop right here. And let's go over here across the street real quick, because just on this street alone there's a lot of historic buildings. This one right here is the Murphy Building. and it looks like it houses the Marion County Sheriff's Office. But brothers John C. Murphy and James Murphy of Tennessee came to Jefferson, Texas in 1850 and owned a wholesale cotton firm and were prominent businessmen. And in the early 1850s, they built this structure as a warehouse in the Riverfront District. In 1884, the building was remodeled for county offices and courts. And in 1915, it became the City Hall with space for the Chesterfield Dance Club and Jefferson Volunteer Fire Department. Diebold Stave was installed in 1877, continues to serve this building. And that's interesting because being that this building was used as a cotton warehouse, it made it very convenient due to its proximity to the port. And here's a in memoriam list of individuals in memoriam, the historic Thomas Jefferson Foundation. So in honor and recognition of those individuals on this plaque right here. So it's just basically, these are people that were responsible for this park that is dedicated to Thomas Jefferson. As you can see, his bust right here. This is just a rundown of Thomas Jefferson. Born here in the United States of America, or third president of the United States, author of the Declaration of Independence, author of Statute of Virginia, and religious freedom and fighter for the University of Virginia, and the namesake of Jefferson, Texas. So, you know, of course, this is the constitutional oath. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So really nice sculpture of Thomas Jefferson, the namesake. And here's another quote of Thomas Jefferson. A few quotes of them right here. Frugal government which shall restrain men from injuring one another shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor. Yep. So yeah, it's really nice little landscape park. Thomas Jefferson Memorial Park. It was actually dedicated in 1989. And you see that is according to this marker right here. There's also the benefactors, patrons, and sponsors. This whole laundry list of them. Shout out to each and every last one of those individuals. Let's keep it moving. I didn't even realize that Jefferson's city was named after Thomas Jefferson. And they have this historic building. Look at the colorful umbrellas up there. It's really nice. The different shades of blue. And this is the Jefferson Hotel Palace, established in 1851. Really cool decor in the front. You have the dragon decoration right there. The elephant laid out. The Indian, the Native American right here. Wow, so this is actually still a hotel. Like, this is still a functional hotel. And they're encouraging me to visit Shelter Park, located behind hotel. Don't mind if I do. They got a lot of cool decorations. And we just barely scratching the surface of this place, man. There's so much to see here. You got the Sphinx right here, really cool decoration. Historic Jefferson Hotel right there. You have the old school telephone booth. You know what? I'll get back to Shelter Park after a while. Let me just keep going down this way. Look at the beautiful architected buildings right here. It really is. Taste of Cattle Eatery. And it's this is actually the oldest hotel in Texas, right over there. It's called the Excelsior Hotel. More on that in a minute. But this is a railroad car. It's called the Jay Gould Railroad Car, which was built in 1888 by the American Car and Foundry Company of St. Charles, Missouri. And this was the private railway car of one Jay Gould, who was a native of New York. Gould was noted financier and the owner of the numerous railroad companies, including Union Pacific, the Missouri Pacific, and International and Great Northern and Texas Pacific. This car was named the Atalanta, remained in Gould family ownership until 1930s. Elaborately designed and elegantly furnished, the Atalanta features 2 observation rooms, 4 state rooms, 2 baths, and butler's pantry and kitchen, dining room, and office interior materials. So he basically designed all of these different materials using these different observation rooms and different materials like mahogany and curly maple woodwork, silver bathroom accessories, and crystal light fixtures. So his son used this. Son George Jay Gould, who was the president of the Texas and Pacific Railroad, used this car, and it was brought to Texas from St. Louis and used as a family residence. So let's go check it out, shall we? This is the Atalanta, and this was generously donated to the Jesse Allen Wise Club by the Eldridge family in 1954. So they say tickets available at the Excelsior House across the street. Wow. This is part of the Missouri Pacific line. And here is a timeline, a marker with a timeline of the accomplishments of the visionary Jay Gould. And this is just a list of everything that he accomplished throughout the course of his life. He was a visionary and businessman. So he was, he was in the stocks and bonds and all that type of stuff. And they even have their whole history of the Gould family. Oh, they really went in on this. Wow. So I guess these are all of his children who also had a part in maintaining the railroads, maintaining the railroads in Gould's legacy. Wow, it's a lot. He had Mr. Jay Gould had a huge legacy, but he also has some controversies too. There's information of whether or not he was a robber baron. So, of course, when you start learning the tricks and trades of the stock market, sometimes, when you get your hands involved with finances, there can be a bit of corruption. He was very prominent during the Gilded Age of America, which was characterized by economic growth, rapid industrialization, prosperity, and wealth. So it earned its name from the 1873 satirical novel Mark Twain titled The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. So it suggests a thin layer of gold covering underlying problems, materialistic excesses concealing deep struggles. So sometimes that's Mark Twain that was on to something. Sometimes, people can get in over their heads once they start earning a lot of money, and they even go to crazy lengths to obtain it. And the Atalanta car was built 1886. We read that on the marker pertaining to Jay Gould. And with Jay Gould's rail system expanding, and a lot of different industries coming into Texas, especially from other places, like, of course, you have cotton, and you also have things like lumber and oil being a huge deal. you need railroad cars to basically accommodate the growth of the economy, the expansion of the economy and the industry. So the Jesse Allen Wise Garden Club, it just gives you some insight on the Garden Club. Excelsior House Hotel, which was purchased in 1961, owned and operated by the Excelsior Foundation. And the Jesse Allen Wise Garden Club, an original structure built in 1852 by riverboat Captain William Perry. So, you know, this was very important. We're going to go over to the Excelsior, by the way. But yeah, it's railroad travel. This is a very, very essential part of American history, more specifically right here in Texas, because railroad travel at its peak, you know, you see a lot of these, and then, you know, you had hotels to accommodate the passengers. So yeah, if you're ever in Jefferson, come check this out. Apparently they give rail car tours Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Jay Gould's private railroad car, owned by the Wise Garden Club. And let's go ahead and cross over here. This is the Excelsior House or Hotel. Again, oldest hotel in Texas, established in 1858. And look at this grand design and the grand architecture and how well this place was maintained. Now, it is the oldest hotel in East Texas. Frame part built in the 1850s. The brick wing added 1864. Among famous guests during the Riverport days of Jefferson were Presidents Grant and Hayes and poet Oscar Wilde. This was restored in the 1961 and 63 by Jesse Allen Wise Garden Club. They did a great job on restoring this property. And apparently they give they give hotel tours as well on Fridays and Saturdays at 2 o'clock. It's the hotel office. But yeah, you could tell definitely in its heyday it was getting a lot of patrons because of its location on the railroads and by the Riverport. And this is some information about Captain William Perry, among the first settlers of Jefferson, arriving 1840, and through his shipping business and his work in dredging and turning basin for ships in the Big Cypress Bayou, he played a significant role in early growth and development of Jefferson as an inland port. And he also bought and developed large tracts of land in the area, becoming quite wealthy in the process. So yeah, Captain William Perry, you know, definitely throughout his travels and stuff like that, you know, accumulated a lot of wealth. But unfortunately in 1869 he was fatally shot while walking home. So yeah, he had a very tragic fate, but he did leave quite a legacy here in the city, the port city of Jefferson. And Jefferson, this is just one street. There's a ton more history to see right here in this city. I might have to do 2 or 3 vlogs on this one. But yeah, R.D. Moses Model Railroad. So this is another, it looks like this used to be a, this could have possibly been a railroad building too. Actually, no, this was an old federal court and post office building, used between 1890 and 1964. So this was the courthouse for the Texas Eastern District, and it's now a museum, the Jefferson Historical Society Museum and Gallery. You can win a golf cart by purchasing tickets inside. Interesting, but yeah, really interestingly architected building right here. And it sits over here by Tony's. This is an Italian restaurant over here. Tony's Pizza, Pasta, and more. So that was Austin Street that we just walked down. All that on one street. It's crazy. But that's how it is when you come to a tourist city. It's a ton of things, a ton of history, ton of really cool shops, a lot of things to do, a lot of things to partake in, a lot of historical buildings. Okay, the Haywood House. The Haywood House has this really nice mural on the side of it. Let me get closer up to see what we're working with. Yep, Haywood Hotel, Jefferson, the golden era. It's just a mural of Jefferson during his heyday. You can see the Riverport, a bunch of people gathering around. Its role in the Civil War, you know, and I believe it's old enough to have been part of the Texas Revolution, with Texas gaining independence from Mexico. So I believe that Jefferson was around during that time as well. So Jefferson has had a very extensive history here in America. Quite frankly, I never knew much of, I don't think I've ever heard of Jefferson prior to this year, prior to me doing some research on Texas cities and whatnot. But I'm glad I came across this town or city, whatever you want to call it. It's a really nicely designed restaurant, and it's a restaurant and cocktail bar. It looks like it's function right now, but it was the Haywood House. So very historical building. Let me go over here to the side real quick. There goes a sculpture. Looks like a Roman goddess, if you will, if I'm not mistaken. Now this building, the Haywood Hotel or Haywood House, was built in 1868, and again it currently serves as a restaurant and cocktail bar, and it has a distinctive 2-story balcony, so you could, you know, it overlooks the street, has that, you know, has that wrought iron. It's really cool. This building, which was once the early Jefferson Lodge building, Masonic Lodge, was built in the late 1850s, but throughout the course of the Civil War it housed a multitude of businesses, and it has that Italianate style architecture. So yep, it's really interesting building. I believe the bayou is nearby here, because you can kind of hear like the crickets and different little creatures that you would think that you would hear from the bayou or some type of body of water. Jefferson is going to be also where I grab some grub, grab some lunch. The brother's getting hungry. So I guess this is what they was talking about, what was located at the rear of this hotel. You got the old buggy right there. Bunch of little knickknacks back here. Pretty cool. This was also once a hotel, I believe, but it now houses a law firm. And this is a coffee shop right here, Con Hotel Coffee Shop. And this marker talks about Vernon Dalhart, which is also the namesake of one of the cities in Texas. And he was born here in Jefferson. Vernon Dalhart began his career here at Con Saloon, starred later in operas in New York, and recorded for Edison's Talking Machine. His rendition of the Prisoner's Song in 1924 was the first folk ballad to sell over 1 million records and led to the rise of country music as an American art form. Dalhart is said to have made over 3,500 records, many under assumed names. Nostalgia for Jefferson echoed in his Caroline Bully of the Town and other hits. Within 10 years, he earned and lost a fortune, later living in obscurity. So it's a kind of a riches to rags story. You have rags to riches. His was the opposite, but it's a sad decline. But I gotta look up Vernon Dalhart's music. Never heard of him before. And this is Con Saloon, built during the early 1860s, and it once served as a boarding house and a mercantile before opening as the Con Saloon. And the temperance movement leader Carrie Nation was denied entrance here during one of her campaigns through Texas. Jefferson native Marion Tried Slaughter launched his career as country music singer Vernon Dalhart at the Con Saloon, and the popular gathering place was closed after local prohibitionists won a 1907 election. Since that time, the building has been used for a variety of purposes, including a newspaper office, lodge building, furniture store, and funeral home. So yeah, this building has had multiple purposes throughout its history. And here goes a mural on the side of it. And this was the aforementioned Vernon Dalhart, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1981. That's him, along with paintings of his multitude of records that he recorded. And those are the own phonograph records that was used back in the day. The Prisoners, Mason-Dixon Line, Lightning Express. Remember the past, just keep looking up. Wow, I gotta look up Vernon Dalhart. This is the historic Con Saloon, trip down memory lane. And does it say who did this mural? It doesn't say, but shout out to whoever did this mural. And this is at the corner of North Vale and West Austin Street. So West Austin, already a lot of stuff on this particular stretch of road. And this is building where the Taste of Cattle Eatery is located, which is accompanied by this cool mural, by the way, of the alligator with the hat. This building was originally near Trammell's Trace, a road chartered in 1813, used by thousands of settlers migrating to Texas. It was owned in 1868 by D.B. Culbertson, who later became congressman and lawyer. And he served in the defense of the Diamond Bessie murder trial. So I got to look up that Diamond Bessie murder trial as well. Not familiar with that. But the Chesterfield Club was originally in this building as well. So again, you have this eatery called Taste of Cattle, or Taste of Cattle, excuse me, Taste of Cattle. I want to get it right. Rosebud Saloon Room. Yeah. Very, very interesting area right here, Jefferson, Texas. On the other side of West Austin Street, you're right across from the Yesteryear gift shop and boutique over here. As we continue down West Austin Street, and seeing that there's some form of connection between Jefferson, Texas and New Orleans, Louisiana, they should have like a little Mardi Gras. If they already don't have one here in Jefferson, they should have a Mardi Gras event. Of course, you won't let it be family friendly. You don't let it be like the New Orleans, you know, all raunchy and whatnot. But, but you know, it's in like a family friendly type town. So yeah, bring the Mardi Gras here if you haven't already done so. But yeah, this is Jefferson General Store. This is a really popular attraction here in Jefferson. They even have their own Chevy pickup truck out here. Classic Chevy pickup truck. Jefferson, Texas General Store. Remind me of the Sanford and Son truck, but only in turquoise color. Yep, Jefferson General Store. They do pralines, fresh handmade, sodas, ice cream, coffee, 5 cents. Oh man, don't mind if I do. And they even have right here original Jefferson Ghost Walk Tour. Wow, really nice. And they have a bunch of merch and an old school record and radio player. I gotta come back here. Jefferson General Store. I definitely gotta come check this spot out. You see, they got the weight, they got the scale out here. They got a whole bunch of cool little things that, yeah, I gotta come back, check this out. Bluebell ice cream. Yeah, I gotta come check it out. Looks like they have a vinyl shop over here too. Cattle Mercantile. Bunch of cool shirts. They got Pink Floyd, Walk on the Moon, or This Side of the Moon. The Dark Side of the Moon, excuse me. Yeah, The Dark Side of the Moon. I couldn't remember the name of that very popular album and logo. Pink Floyd, Def Leppard, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Oh wow, pretty cool. Austin Street Bistro. So this is an antique shop, Cattle Mercantile antique shop. Excuse me. You have this wooden structure right here, this wooden little house. It's nicely decorated. Very nice, very nice. Further down that way, some more railroad tracks. 1852 on Austin. This place looks like it's lit, especially on the weekends or, you know, some type of major event. And this kind of gives you like New Orleans vibes. And Planters Bank in 1852, in Jefferson's heyday, Riverfront Warehouse on Firm with St. Louis, New Orleans branches. So they have a branch of Planters Bank also in New Orleans and St. Louis. So okay, that's very interesting. But yeah, it has that kind of architectural style that gives you New Orleans vibes. That's pretty cool. And some random wooden structure. I'm sure it was used for something back in the day. But stay tuned for part 2, because we definitely got to do a part 2 to this Jefferson, because there's still some parts that I still haven't checked out. Cypress Valley Education Center. Okay. Yeah, guys, we definitely got to go into this Jefferson General Store. So, see you guys in a few.